You already know the truth, even though you fought to hide it for so long. The harsh words tore the veil of silence, and now there's no going back. The passion you suppressed didn't ask permission, it simply exploded in the middle of the chaos. Fear and desire are here burning. The question now is not whether this is real, it's what you are going to do with it. Will you face it or let it burn until there's nothing left? Now that everything is exposed, there's no point in pretending that nothing happened. The comfortable silence from before has been broken, and you are face to face with something beyond your control. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? Admitting that the feeling was always there, waiting for the right moment to emerge. But you insisted on ignoring it, suffocating even the slightest spark. Every word spoken in the discussion still echoes, loaded with hurt, truth, and an intensity that you tried to mask with reason. But let's be clear, what exploded there wasn't just anger. It was the frustration of accumulated feelings, the weight of denying the obvious. You hurt each other, yes, but you also allowed yourselves something you didn't have the courage to face before. So, what's next? Standing still in this emotional limbo is not an option. What you feel for each other won't simply disappear because it's complicated, because it scares you, or because the circumstances aren't ideal. The fear you feel is proof of what this means. If it was something superficial, you would have already surpassed it. You would have regained control, but it's not. It's real, and real is scary. You need to decide, will you give yourselves to this or hide again? Because from here on, every decision matters. What you choose affects not just what you feel now, but what you will carry forever. The regret of not having tried, or the courage to see where this can lead. Don't be mistaken, nothing will be easy. Facing something so intense means opening up, exposing yourself, showing parts of you that you have never shared before. It means accepting that the other person might not respond the way you imagine. They might even disappoint you. But it also means the chance for something beyond anything you've ever experienced. You can't achieve this without risks. The question you need to answer isn't about the other person, but about yourselves. Can you handle the truth? Are you ready to face what you feel, or do you prefer to let it die, buried under excuses and justifications you know are nothing but comfortable lies? Time will not stop for you to decide. Life will not wait. Each day you let pass is one more opportunity lost, one more step in the opposite direction of what could be. You have already burned the bridge of silence. You can't go back. What remains is to cross the flames and discover what is on the other side. And don't come with excuses. It's not about circumstances, about third parties, or about the barriers you invent to justify running away. This is about the two of you and what you feel, period. If you have the courage, you will find that facing this fear can be the beginning of something transformative. But if you choose the easier path, don't be mistaken. You will carry the weight of it forever. So look at each other, really look, without masks, without excuses. What do you see? Because that is what matters now. Not the past, not the wounds, but what exists here and now. A feeling so strong that not even a fight was able to destroy. In fact, it only made everything clearer. So, will you allow yourselves to feel, or will you keep pretending that it doesn't matter? Because in the end, the choice is in your hands. But know this, what you decide today can change everything. There is no room for half-truths or hesitant steps. It's all or nothing. You've come this far not by accident. Something brought you to this moment, to this confrontation, to this explosion that shattered the artificial calm you built around a feeling that was never small. So stop for a moment and ask yourselves, why are you so afraid to look at what is so clear? The truth is there, naked, raw, impossible to ignore. You can try to hide it. You can even convince yourselves that it's safer to leave things as they are. But deep down, you know that's a lie. Because what you feel is bigger than the barriers, bigger than the excuses. And the more you try to pretend it doesn't exist, the more it will corrode every part of you. It's no use blaming the circumstances or the timing. There will always be something that makes everything more difficult. There will always be a reason to delay the inevitable. But what if you stop running? What if, for a second, you give yourselves the chance to imagine what it would be like if you simply let this feeling be what it is? It's scary, yes. But what is more frightening? The risk of failing or the regret of never having tried. Let's not romanticize this. It won't be simple. What you feel is intense. And intense things come with complications, come with pain, come with uncertainties. But they also come with the possibility of something that few people have the courage to experience. A true feeling, which requires commitment, vulnerability, but which also promises something that could change everything. What you need to understand is that there are no guarantees. You can't know if this will work out or if it will end in more pain. But what you already know is that denying what you feel didn't work. Denying it only brought you here, to this moment where everything exploded in a way you couldn't control anymore. And now that it's exposed, you can't put it back in the box. You are on the brink of something. Something that can be extraordinary if you have the courage to take the step. But also something that can turn into a huge burden if you choose to ignore it. The question is, what do you want to carry from now on? The weight of regret or the strength of knowing that at least you tried? And it's not just about you individually. It's about what you can build together. Because feelings like this don't appear every day. They don't happen with just anyone. What you have is rare. But that also means that if you don't take care of it, you could lose it forever. Are you willing to take that risk? Maybe you are thinking about the obstacles, the reasons why this seems impossible. But let's be honest, if you've come this far, if this feeling has survived everything, then it is stronger than any excuse you can think of. And you know that. You know that deep down the only thing really in the way is fear. The fear of getting hurt, of exposing yourself, of losing control. But control is an illusion. What you feel was not planned, not controlled. It was something that happened, that grew, that strengthened despite everything. So why try to control it now? Why not simply accept that what's happening between you is bigger than any plan, bigger than any logic? Look at each other again, and this time, see beyond what is comfortable. See what's behind the anger, the hurt, the confusion. See what is really there. A feeling that, despite everything, has not been destroyed. A feeling that, even in the midst of the most intense argument, found a way to show itself. And if you are willing to see that, to feel that, then the next step is inevitable. You need to talk. You can't keep pretending. You can't let silence take over again because silence is comfortable, but it brings nothing but regret. And you know that. So speak. Say what you feel, even if the words don't come out perfectly, even if it's hard. Say what's in your heart because right now that's all that matters. Not the obstacles, not the circumstances, but the truth. Because if you're not honest now, when will you be? And when you speak, be prepared to listen. Listen to the other person's truth without judgment, without defenses. Listen with an open heart, because only then will you understand what really exists between you. And only then will you be able to decide what to do about it. Because that's what's at stake here, the chance for something real, something true. Something that might be difficult, but that could also be the most important thing you've ever experienced. And if you choose to ignore it, know that it won't disappear. It will always be there as a what-if that you'll never be able to answer. You have this choice now. Not tomorrow, not when it's more convenient, but now. So what's it going to be? Are you going to face it together, or are you going to let slip something that might never come back? If you've come this far, it means you've already taken the first step, even if you didn't realize it. Admitting that there is something even in the midst of the storm is the spark that ignited everything. But a spark alone doesn't sustain the fire. Now it's time to decide. Are you going to feed it or let it die out? Stop thinking of excuses. What if it doesn't work out? What if it destroys us? The answer is simple. You'll never know if you don't try. And trying is no guarantee of success, but it's the only way to know what is truly possible. What is more painful? A risk that might hurt or living with the shadow of a what-if that never goes away? This discussion that began with hurt was actually a cry for help, not from you to each other, but from yourselves to yourselves. A desperate plea to stop pretending, to stop hiding. It was the heart saying, I can't carry this alone anymore. And now that everything is exposed, there's no point in pretending you can go back to how things were before. You are afraid, of course you are. Afraid of ruining what exists, afraid of discovering that you are not strong enough, afraid of giving in and losing yourselves. But fear cannot be the only guide, because fear, while valid, only protects. It never builds. And what you have now requires building. It requires courage. You cannot live solely by protection. Look inside and be honest with yourselves. Can you imagine moving forward without exploring what has arisen here? Can you look at each other without thinking about what could have been? Because if the answer is no, then you already know what you need to do. You know that as difficult as it may be, ignoring what you feel will not alleviate anything. It will only prolong the suffering. Maybe you think you are protecting each other by not acting, by not speaking. But that is not protection, it is postponement. And while you postpone, what you could build together becomes increasingly distant. You cannot protect something that is already vulnerable. What you have does not need protection. It needs action, it needs truth. So what are you waiting for? A sign, a guarantee? There are no guarantees, and the only sign you need is right here, the two of you, in this moment, with everything that has been said and felt. This is the sign, this is the call. Now it is up to you to decide whether you will respond or ignore it. And there's no use pretending that the other person needs to take the first step. This is a two-person game. If you want something real, you need to be willing to meet halfway. It doesn't matter who starts to talk, who takes the initiative. What matters is that both are willing to build together. You have this rare, almost unique opportunity to turn what started as a conflict into something much greater. Something that, if well cared for, can completely change the course of your lives. But for that, you need to be willing to let go of pride, excuses, and the barriers you have placed between you. Love, or whatever is being born here, is not something passive. It is not something that happens on its own, without effort. It requires work, dedication, vulnerability. And yes, it requires courage. Courage to expose yourself, to face your fears, to admit that you don't have all the answers, but you are willing to discover them together. So what do you choose? What do? To let fear win, or to bet on something that, despite all the risks, could be the most important thing in your lives? No one can answer for you. No one can decide. Only you can do that. And before you think that there is time, that you can wait, let me tell you something. Time does not wait. Life goes on. Opportunities pass. And if you don't act now, you may find out too late that you lost something you can never get back. Do what needs to be done. Not tomorrow, not when it's more convenient. Now, speak, even if the words don't come out perfectly. Listen, even if what you hear is difficult. Be present, because this is the moment that can define everything. And above all, be honest with yourself and with each other. Because the truth, no matter how hard it is always better than living with comfortable lies. You have something rare here, something many spend their entire lives searching for and never find. Don't throw it away out of fear. Don't let silence win. Choose to speak, choose to feel, choose to try. After all, what do you have to lose? Maybe it's more than you can imagine, but it's certainly less than losing the chance to experience something real. Now the decision is in your hands. There's no more room for excuses, for postponements, for the weight of fear that paralyzes. What happened between you has already changed everything. You've crossed the line of what was comfortable, and that's impossible to undo. What's left is to choose. Will you face together what's in front of you? Or will you allow silence, once again, to destroy what could be the start of something extraordinary? Be honest with yourselves and each other. What you have isn't perfect, and nothing that truly matters is. But it's real. And that in itself is worth the effort, worth the risk. If you allow it, you might discover that what you have is greater than any obstacle, greater than the fear that tries to control. Speak, listen, feel. You've come this far, but this is just the beginning. There's an entire path ahead, and the choice to continue together is something only you can make. There are no guarantees, but there is the possibility of something unique, something transformative, something worthwhile. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced something like this? Have you ever felt trapped between the fear and the desire to take a risk for something greater? Share your story or your thoughts in the comments. Your voice could help others who are also seeking the courage to face their own feelings. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Your support makes all the difference. Also, leave your like so this message can reach more people. You can be the first step for others to find the courage to follow their feelings too. So, what do you choose today? Stay still or take the next step? I'm waiting for your answer in the comments.